Our ride to the church building today, I was very, very kind to him. After he stood me up all day, they left the house this morning and he didn't come back. He was supposed to come back to the house at 1 o'clock. In fact, he grilled me because he was going to come back at 15 minutes before 1. And I was to be ready. And what time was it? Maybe 15 minutes before 5 when he showed up. After I got a message letting me know that they were already having lunch. And I could find something there at the house and enjoy that. And so I did that. And so by the time Carrie arrived, another thing, he had promised that he was going to take us over to Detroit today and let us see a little bit of the sights and stuff like that, but that didn't happen. And so you're talking, he left, he was supposed to be back at 12:45, he didn't come back, and then he didn't take us where he promised to take us to, and then when he did come back, then we had to get ready to leave. By then I was just a little ticked. I wasn't mad, I wasn't revengeful as he presented it from the pulpit tonight. I was just a little ticked. But then when he made the statement concerning Brother Jerry's title tonight, he said, Brother Jerry said and he read off his title and said, I need you to write my titles for my sermons. And I was so tempted to stand up and say, from what I heard, you need someone to write your sermons for you. But I didn't do that because I didn't feel that was my place to do that. And because then that would really show what he was demonstrating that I had been in the car, in which I wasn't that. And so therefore I didn't stand and tell him that he's better off to have somebody else to write his sermons, because that's really none of my business anyway. So what are you talking about? But as I was saying, it's going to be a great 3 days together. I'm not a picky person, but if there's any houses that's open where you have a place where I can come and stay, let me know. I'll be more than glad to come. I didn't come all the way from Guatemala to be treated like this, okay? And that's just how it goes.
Like an escort home.
What's that?
Like an escort that maybe somebody to sit between you on the way home.
I think we're past that. I really do. I think we're past. I'm trying to get over this in front of you. I'm sorry, okay? So I was hoping that we wouldn't have to air out our laundry before the whole congregation tonight, never expecting he would get up there and take advantage of the pulpit to stab. That's...
Brothers do that.
Well, brothers do and enemies do as well. They all do. Okay. Number 622, if you have your books. 622. Y'all know this song? Okay, let's sing it, okay? There's a message true and glad for the sinful and the sad. Ring it up, ring it up. It will give courage to it for nothing to be true. Ring it out, ring it out. Ring out the word. Sing away for land and sea. Sing today. Still far from Jesus, Jenny, living souls and down. Ring out the news that makes men free. To all the lost of every nation, ring our message out. What a message that is. What a wonderful message that is. It's a message of salvation. It's a message that leads us from darkness into his marvelous what? Light. It's a message that gets us, if we accept it, it's a message that gets us off of the road to hell and puts us on the road to heaven. What a powerful message. It's a message of life and death. It's a message of leaving this earth forgiven or unforgiven. What a powerful message. And our subject tonight is we're going to talk about that, and we're speaking the truth in love is our title. Speaking the truth in love. And now let me tell you something. This is a class. I know we're in an auditorium, okay? But this is a class session, I was told. Is that correct? So in a class session, that means everybody can what? Can participate and speak. Okay? So now, when I ask a question, I want a what? An answer. Yeah, I don't want you to sit there like this. I don't want that, okay? And here, another thing I don't like. When I ask a question, don't do this number. I mean, it's almost like people are thinking, if I can't see him, he can't see me. I can see you. And I will call on you if you put your heads down. In fact, I don't know your name, but I'll walk right there and tap you on your shoulder. So this is a class session, okay? And when we leave here tonight, you're going to say, I didn't get anything out of it if you don't put anything into it, okay? I'm a fill-in, okay? I wasn't supposed to be here, so therefore I don't have to be good. Okay, I don't have to be because I wasn't even invited. I got to come because somebody else couldn't come. Okay, so therefore I don't have if you don't get anything out of the class, you didn't put anything in the class. Speaking the truth in love. Okay, what I want us to do to start off the class tonight is I want us to journey. I want us to journey through several texts in the Bible. And I want us to see something that all these texts, that they share in common. Are you with me? Everybody with me? You ready for this first part of the journey? Okay, we're going to go to the book of John. And our theme overall for these few days is what? Walking in his way. That's the theme. Walking in his way. And part of walking in his way, of course, is being like him. Is that right? Being like him and doing the things that he did. Now you ask, now Brother High, how does all this tie in together? We're going to talk about speaking the truth in love, and now you're talking about walking in his way, and you're talking about walking in his way means we're going to do it. Okay. You with me? Okay, the book of John. I'm going to give the text, and when I give the text, let's go to it, and then I just want someone to read it, okay? John chapter 4. John chapter 4, verse 50. John chapter 4, verse 50.
Jesus said unto him, Go thy way, thy son liveth.
Okay.
And the man believed the word that Jesus had spoke unto him, and he went his way.
Okay. Jesus did what? Jesus did what? Jesus spoke. Okay. Jesus spoke to him. Jesus said unto him. Okay. John chapter 8, verse 12. I'm going to read that.
When Jesus spoke,
again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life.
Now, a lot of times on this text here, we focus on, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. That's what we focus on. Tonight, that's not our focus. Our focus is the very first line. What does it say? And Jesus spoke to them. Jesus spoke to them. Okay. Chapter 10. Chapter 10, verse 6. Chapter 10, verse 6. Somebody read it.
Jesus used a figure of speech, but they did not understand what he was telling them.
Jesus did what? He spoke. He used, my version, the New American says, the figure of speech, Jesus spoke to them, and they did not understand those things which he had been saying to them. But what did Jesus do? Jesus spoke to them. Okay, chapter 12. Chapter 12, verse 36.
Put your trust in the light while you have it, so that you may become sons of light. When he had finished speaking, Jesus left and hid him from themselves.
A lot of times we focus on what it says in the beginning. It says, while you have the light, believe in the light. Okay, but then our focus for the night is going to be that last line. What did Jesus do? Jesus spoke. He spoke. One more. Chapter 17. Chapter 17, verse 1. Someone read it. I'm sorry?
I love this verse. I hate the verse.
Okay.
This is my favorite one.
Okay.
And Jesus said this, he looked toward heaven and prayed, Father, the hour and the time has come. Glorify your Son. May glorify your Son, so your Son may glorify you.
Many times, what our focus is on this verse is, Father, the hour has come. Glorify thy Son, that the Son may glorify thee. How precious that is. But that's not our focus tonight. Our focus is on the very first part of the verse. What does it say? Jesus spoke. Jesus spoke. One more. John chapter 2. Go back to John chapter 2. John chapter 2, verse 21. Somebody read that for us.
But he was speaking about the temple of his body.
What's he doing here? Speaking. Church, here's what I want, as we start tonight, here's what I want to impress upon our minds. Jesus spoke. We can start in the book of Matthew and go all the way through the last chapter of John. And there's going to be numerous times we're going to see Jesus speaking. Jesus spoke. And while he was speaking to them, the bottom line is, while Jesus was here, Jesus spoke. So, one of the things we're going to have to do, if we claim to be his children, if we claim to be his followers, we're going to have to y'all look speechless. I mean, you're trying to get it out. I mean, you really are, because I like doing that. I like saying to the congregation, we're going to have to, and everybody goes, it's like you can't say it. It's there, though. We claim to be his children. We claim that we're going to walk in his way. We claim that we're going to do the things, or some of the things that he did. Church, one of those things, we're going to have to do what? Speak. We're going to have to speak. But church, when we speak, I'm not just talking about speaking, but I'm talking about speaking as he spoke. I'm not just talking about rattling off, because we do that, don't we? Yeah, let me ask you about the president right now. Some of you are going to be good, some of you are going to be bad, some of you are going to tell me more about him than he knows about himself. We talk. No, that's not the speaking I'm talking about. That takes us to our text for tonight. Someone find Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4, beginning with verse 14. Ephesians chapter 4, beginning with verse 14, and let's read through verse 16. Verses 14 through 16.
That we may be no longer children, tossed to and fro, and carried about with every wind of doctrine, by the sleight of men in craftiness, after the wiles of error. But speaking the truth in love, we may grow up in all things unto him who is the head, even Christ, from whom all the body fitly framed and knit together through that which every joint supplieth, according to the working in. That's the end of 16.
That's the end of 16.
According to the effective working by which every part does its share, causes growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love.
This is our text. I don't know what version you have, but yeah. You know, it's always you're using the telephone. Okay, you don't have a Holy Bible. That's the, no, I take that back. I couldn't resist that, though. I'm sorry. Okay. Here our text is telling us, you know what? We want to grow. We want the body to grow. We don't want to be people who are fickle. We don't want to be tossed to and fro. We want to be solid. Do you want those traits? And part of that is speaking the truth in love. If we're going to be the people, if we're going to be the church, if we're going to be the body, part of our responsibility is going to be we've got to do what? Speak. We've got to speak. We have been silenced. We've been silenced. Some of us have had fear put into us. It's called a scheme of the devil. We have been silenced. Or they're trying to silence us, but Church, tonight, when we leave these doors, if I haven't accomplished anything else, I want to accomplish this. We've got to speak. But in this text here, we find three things of importance that I want us to share together tonight. We find what I call 3 M's. Okay? So it's not M&M, okay, but it's M&M and M. It's not 3M, it's not the tape company either, okay? But we find 3 M's that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about method. We're going to talk about message. And we're going to talk about motive. Say that with me. Message. No, I'm sorry, that's not the first one. And you were right with me, weren't you? Wow. That's not the first one. The first one is method, message, motive. One more time. Say it. Okay, now you say now, how do you get this from Ephesians chapter 4? Okay, but speaking the truth in love is what we're talking about. What is the method first? The method is speaking. Now, church, I don't have anything at all against the teaching that we've got to be a good example. I don't have it because we do. We live by example. Okay? But church, example doesn't take the place of our speaking. A lot of times, here's what we say. We just say, you know what I'll do? I'll just set a good example before them, but I'll never say anything to them. And you know what they end up with? And when I say they, you know who they are? They end up saying, boy, Hi is a good person. You know they don't know why? They end up saying, oh, and they call your name. You know what? She doesn't curse. He doesn't drink. They don't smoke. Oh, they set such a fine example. But then we never speak to them. Church, nobody, now listen, nobody, no person, say it with me, nobody is what I want you to say, okay? Nobody, say that, nobody set a better example on this earth than Jesus. Amen. Nobody did. He was perfect in everything that he did, everything. In fact, the only time people could say anything bad about him, they had to lie. They had to make it up. Church, why am I sharing it with us? Because nobody set a better example on the face of this earth than Jesus, and he spoke. He just didn't say, well, I'll let my example be enough. We just read, 7 or 8 verses just now, and every verse, what do we see him doing? Why didn't he just say, well, no, I'll just set the right example? Church, again, I'm not minimizing an example. But church, I think we have minimized our speaking. We've minimized speaking to other people. Let me ask you a question. Why do we not speak? Fear is one of them. What's that? Intimidated? Let's deal. Y'all ready just to talk a little bit? Let's just talk a little bit, okay? Why do we not speak. Somebody said fear, intimidation. Do what? We think people already know.
They think we're corny.
They think we're corny.
Rejection. When we start talking to them.
Somebody said what?
Rejection.
Rejection. You know, the list could go on and on and on. And you know what they are in most cases? They're excuses. Excuses. And Marshall Keeble said, you know what an excuse is? Marshall Keeble said, how many of you have ever heard of Marshall Keeble? Okay, good. Okay, because I said that one time. So I'm like, who's Marshall Keeble? Okay, well, he said one time, you know what an excuse is? He said an excuse is a dressed-up lie. That's all it is. It's a dressed-up lie. You've convinced yourself, and you've made an excuse. You know, and there's all kinds of reasons that we can give for not speaking. I mean, somebody said one time, said, you know, you know what? I don't speak a lot about the gospel because I just don't know a lot about it. And I just look now. When has that ever stopped us from talking? Yeah, we talk all the time about stuff we don't know anything about. But the bottom line is, do what? Learn. If you believe this message is so important, learn. Then of course now there's fear. There's fear. There's fear of what might happen to us. You know, I might lose my job if I speak. I mean, they already told us we can't talk about Bible in the workplace, haven't they? Can't do that. I might lose my job. There's fear. Churches, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. You know, I mean, even if we went to the Bible, it's nothing new. Remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? I mean, no. You're not gonna do what God wants you to do. You do what God wants you to do, and what we're gonna do to you? We're gonna put you in a fiery furnace. When was the last time you got put in a fiery furnace? I mean, sometimes we feel like we're in one. Sometimes we feel like, don't we? We do. But you know what Shadrach and Meshach said? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, you know what said? Our God is going to deliver us. Daniel chapter 3. And said, even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow down to you. Now, when they're saying, even if he doesn't, they're not saying he's not going to deliver them. They're saying he might not keep us out of this fire. But in the end, he's going to take care of us. It's nothing new. Daniel, you remember Daniel? We all know the story of Daniel, but you know what? So many times that's all it is a story. No. You know, Daniel prays. He's not supposed to pray. We've been told you can't pray. We've been told we can't pray. And you know what? Now you pray, we're going to put you where? The lion's den. We know the rest of the story. But church is more than a story. Acts chapter 4. Real quickly. I know I held you late last night, and I haven't heard the end of that from Carrie. And so I'm going to try not to hold you late tonight. And if I do, it's my fault. I'm not going to say it's Carrie's fault. I'm going to say it's my fault. I always take the responsibility, okay, if I hold you late. If you need to go somewhere, go. Okay, we're going to be out here by 9, I promise. Acts chapter 4. Somebody begin reading where it says, it tells us something special in beginning with verse 17. Tonight. No, not. Acts chapter 4, begin with verse 17.
But in order that it may spread no further among the people, let us warn them to speak no more anyone in his name. So they charged them not to speak or teach at all in the name of Jesus. But Peter and John answered, whether it is right in the sight of God to listen to you rather than to God, you must judge. For we cannot but speak of what we have seen and heard.
How many of you are saved? How many of you are saved? Remember I asked you that last night. Have you changed your mind since last night? Okay. How many of you are saved? How many of you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you're saved? How many of you know that if the Lord came tonight that you would go and be home with him forever and ever and ever? You know that beyond a shadow of a doubt. And if you don't, you can change it tonight, okay? I'm not extending an invitation yet. We'll do that in a minute, okay? But how can we keep that quiet? If I believe I'm going to heaven, how can I keep quiet? If I believe that I'm saved, how can I keep that quiet? I've got the cure for cancer. I don't know about you, but I've got family members right now that's suffering with cancer. If I had the cure for cancer, how could I keep that quiet? I got the cure for AIDS. I know what it is. How can I keep that quiet? I've got to do what? I've got to do what? I've got to speak. Speak. Church, we know the answer to sin. His name is Jesus. How can we keep that quiet? How can we allow man to shut us up? If I don't encourage you to do anything else tomorrow, here's what I want to encourage you to do. What, church? Speak. Now, I told you there are 3 M's. The next M we find in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15 as well. We find the message. The message. Because he says here, Paul in his recording says, speaking what? The truth. The truth. That's the message. It's not my opinion. How many of you have an opinion? Yeah, you know, they say opinions are just like noses. Everybody's got one. Some of them just big, some of them small. But everybody's got one. That's not the message. What about your feelings? I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about our feelings. And how often do they change? Yeah. Yeah, your feelings about me has changed 10 times already in the last 30 minutes. Yeah. I mean, some of you are saying, oh, he's okay. No, he's not that good. I like that point. I don't like that point. Oh, I wish he'd leave. I'm glad when 8 o'clock gets here. We're going, you've changed. That's not the message. The message is speaking the truth. Let me tell you something. John, somebody read for us. John chapter 14, verse 6. John chapter 14, verse 6. Uh-huh. And the life. Uh-huh. And no man cometh unto the Father but by me. Okay, read that one more time. Jesus said unto him. Uh-huh. I am the way. Uh-huh. The truth. Oh, I didn't hear that one the first time. I am the way, what? The truth. The life. And no man comes to the Father but through me. Jesus said, I am the what? Truth. Jesus said, I am the what? Truth. Speaking the truth. The message is, church, the bottom line is this. Our message is Jesus. Acts chapter 4, what they were told they couldn't talk about was Jesus. 1 John, all through the book of 1 John, it's all about true. It's all about the one who's true. His name is Jesus. Church, it's not about us. Some of us, we want to spend all of our time on, let's teach them about we don't use the instrument. Let's teach them about we have to have the Lord's Supper on the first day of every week. Let's teach them about, well, the women can't get up and preach. Even though some could probably do it better than Carrie. But that's besides the point. I couldn't resist that one. Is that on tape? Just erase that part of the tape. I did not mean that. We want to tell them everything before we tell them about the truth. Church, once they learn the truth, they learn all of the other things. You know why? Because it's Jesus who said, Jesus said this. Jesus said, if you love me, you're going to do what? Keep my commandments. You know what comes into play? The instrument. You know what comes into play? The women's robe. You know what comes into play? The Lord's Supper. All that comes into play. None of that makes a bit of difference if they don't know the truth. Jesus. Speaking. That's the method. The truth. That's the message. Now, let's talk for just a couple hours. Hey, let's talk about the motive, okay? But now, let me tell you, and it's not going to prolong the lesson or anything, but really, when we start talking about the motive, we have another 3 M's here. Okay? Because we could really say it's the motive. We can really say it's the motivation. Are you with me? Okay, it's the method. It's the motivation. It's the means by which we do it. One more time, let's go to Ephesians. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15. We've talked about the method. We've talked about the message, the motive. And you really, everybody just look at me, okay? Just look at me for just a moment. Because I think we can answer this one. I think this is not a trick question, okay? It's not a trick question, okay? Here's. And you don't have to sit there and go like this. You're going to be able to belt this one out, okay? We're going to be together on it, okay? All righty, okay? The method is what, church? Oh, come on. I'm getting all excited and you guys. Let's be excited together, okay? The method is what, church? Speaking, okay? The message is what, church? The truth, okay? Now let's talk about the motive. Let's talk about the motive. Speaking the truth in love. That 4-letter word, love. No. You got 5 minutes. When you're ready to go, leave. Okay? I don't operate by any clock. Okay? I take that back. I'll operate by the clock. Okay? It's just I'm excited, church. I'm excited. I've come all the way from Guatemala. Okay? Have pity on me. I'm staying with Carrie Williams.
And if you don't use a clock, he wasn't late then.
You're absolutely right. Good point. I'll remind him of that when we get in the car tonight and on the way back home. We're talking about the motive. The motive. We're talking about the motive. And the motive, church, any of the 3 M's we use. Motive is what? That's why we do it, because we love. Motive. The motivation, church, is what? Love. Yeah. That makes us do it. Love. Okay. Now, church, and I told you the M. Let me change the M. The manner in which we do it is with what? Love. We've got our motive is what? Love. Okay. Church, our motive is what? Love. Church, our motive is what? Love. That causes us to do it. Our motivation is what, church? Love. Love. That's why we do it. Because we love God. And because we love His creation. And because we love mankind. And we know they're lost. We know they're going to hell. We want to help them keep from going there. That's motivation. But also, church, we love ourselves. And we know it's part of our mission. We know that the truth told us to go and make disciples. And then the manner in which we do it is what? Love. There's no greater example of that than Jesus. No greater example. If anybody could have mistreated people, if anybody could have looked down on people, God can. Don't forget that. God can. Jesus is God. He didn't. Jesus, how many times, and I've got some text here, but we're not going to, when you get home tonight, go to your concordance, go wherever you need to go. How many times in the Bible do we find it says, where it will say, He had compassion on them? How many times will we find where it says, and He loved them? When Jesus met the rich young ruler that we call him, and then the rich young ruler says, I've done everything that I'm supposed to do. And before Jesus told him the thing he hadn't done, the Bible says he loved him. He loved them. We've got to speak. And we've got to speak the truth. But church, it's got to be in love. It's got to be because we're in love. We've got to be motivated because of love. Church, nothing turns our neighbors off. Nothing turns our co-workers off quicker than some haughty Christian who thinks they're better than everybody else. I'm no better than anybody else. I'm saved. Okay? And who saved me? I didn't do anything for myself. In love. Sometimes we can't reach people because we don't do it right. We're upset. We're mad. I mean, I never forget, I was in Denver, Colorado. And the Gay Pride Parade was going through downtown, blocking all the traffic, doing all the stuff like that. And we were having dinner, and one of the guys were watching it on his cell phone, and they were talking about, what we ought to do is we ought to get them all and put them all in a box. One person said, we're all to shoot them all. We're all to, and one kid said, you know what? We should try to teach them the gospel. Church, you know what? You're not going to teach anybody anything you don't love. If you don't like somebody, if you're haughty against somebody, you're not going to teach them. You're not going to speak to them. Because you're wishing they're all put in the box. You wish we're all, you know. It's all about love. It's not, sometimes it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. One other thing, and I'm going to let you go, okay? One other thing, and I'm going to let you go. Just to illustrate this, just to illustrate it. I was driving in the car one day. And when I was driving, I took my mother and 2 sisters Christmas shopping. Men don't do that. Okay, I took them Christmas shopping. My mother's in the front seat. My 2 sisters are in the back seat. Every one of them knew where they thought they wanted to go, and every one of them thought they knew how to get there. And I'm listening to, go right, go left, go this, at a traffic light. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, all 3 of them yelled when the light turned green, go straight! And guess what? I went straight. Guess who was next to me? There was a police car next to my car. When I went straight, I went right in front of his car. And when I went in front of his car, guess what he did? Turned on the lights. And I never forget when he pulled me over, my mother said, she looked at me and she said, she called me boy. She said, boy, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's what she said. He walks over to the car. I let down my window. He proceeded to yell at me, to scream at me. Don't you know you could have hit me? Don't you know this? Don't you know all this? Don't you know you could have done this? And then he says, don't you think you need a ticket? Yeah. And I looked at him and I said, you're the officer, and I trust your decision as to whether or not I get a ticket. You know what he said? He went, well, you know, it wasn't that bad, I guess. That's the truth. It wasn't that bad. We can let it slide. And, you know, I let up my window. We pulled off. That has stuck with me for these many years. It's not just what you're saying. It's how you're saying it. That's why it's so powerful when we take Ephesians chapter 4 to heart. Because here's what it tells us. It says, do what, church? Speak. Speak what, church? The truth. But how, church? In love. It's our motive. It's our motivation. It's our manner. Speaking the truth in love. And the song goes like this. Jesus, my heavenly King, loves me, I know. Praises to him I sing, onward I go. Closely to him I cling, blessings still flow. I love my Savior too. You know that I love my Savior. He loves me too. You know that I see his favor in everything I do. You love Jesus? I do. Then let's do what? Speak. But speak what? The truth. What's the manner, church? What's the motive, church? Love. What's the motivation, church? Love. Let's walk in his way. God bless you.